Thank you, Jia. We are very glad we are able to finally present yours. Amma, we can move on to the next on our agenda.
Thank you for all your presentations. It is wonderful. And since it's already past noon, Namo Namaha, Dr. Garu, Arvind Rao Garu, I will just unmute you in a moment. And we have a very special guest, and I'm so happy that Dr. Arvind Rao Garu could, be present with us. So we are not going to have a break. So please, children, now it'll be very nice. Pay attention, and we will all hear Dr. Garu after a formal introduction. Okay.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. On behalf of Arshavidya Parampara, it is my privilege to welcome today our special guest of the day, Dr. K. Arvind Rao Garu. Dr. Arvind Rao served as a Director General of Police in undivided Andhra Pradesh. Hailing from humble upbringing in a remote village in Anantapur, his ambition was to originally become a professor, but ended up becoming a police officer. Dr. Arvind Rao has held the key posts like Police Commissioner of Vijayawada, Additional Commissioner of Police of Hyderabad, Additional Director General of State Intelligence Department, Inspector General of Police, Crime Investigation Department, CID, and Director General of Anti-Corruption Bureau, ACB. So after retirement as the Director General of Police, AP, Dr. Rao took up the studies of Sanskrit in 1994, mainly to understand the Upanishads, and today holds a PhD in Sanskrit. Ever since, Dr. Rao Garu has been teaching the Gita, the Upanishads, the Mahabharatam, and Ramayana through TV and through discourses on various topics like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and the Advaita Vedanta YouTube channel, and the website is www.advaitaacademy.org. His focus is to write useful books for the younger generation, and he is the author of many books in English and Telugu, like A Guide to Bhagavad Gita, Vajagovindam, Sandhya Vandanam, and How to Teach Hinduism to Your Child, and many others. So I now welcome our special guest and request Dr. Arvind Rao to kindly address the audience. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Om Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadhanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Om. First of all, my pranams to Swamini Sumatmanandaji, who has given this opportunity to interact with you all. My best wishes and my blessings to all the young kids who are participating in this workshop. I think this is a workshop for a few days, maybe about 15 days or so. And in the course of these 15 days, we have learned so many things, maybe some prayers, some stotrams, and then some little bit of Sanskrit and some ideas about what Gita says and what is this Gita about, or maybe what is Ramayana about. So some such things you have learned. So it is a great experience, because now in the COVID times, many people are wasting their time. But I am also happy to see that many people are very, very usefully spending their time. Many people are wasting time seeing some TV serials and then see some films on TV. But then many other people whom I know, they are writing books. Some people whom I know, they have been all through the year or last 2 years, they have been writing books, and then they have been teaching on some Zoom or some channel like that. So people are also making very good use of time. So I am happy that you are also making good use of time. First of all, I congratulate your parents also, because it is for the parents to put their children in some useful path. Because the children, unless the parents put the children in a useful path, the children themselves may not be knowing. So I also want to congratulate the parents. Then now I am told the age group of the students may be around starting from 7, 8, etc. to right up to 14, 15. Luckily, all of you understand English. That is one good thing for me. Of course, I know Telugu also. Some of you may not be knowing Telugu. Some of you may be knowing Tamil, or I don't know. But anyway, I will speak in very, very simple English. I'll try to speak. So today, how to tell about Gita, or how to tell about our tradition, or how to tell about what we call Hinduism. You all agree that we are called Hindus. We are called the Hindus because we follow a religion called Hinduism. So we know that for other religions like Islam or Christianity, they do have one book. They have one book. Islam, if you say, okay, we have got one book, this is the greatest book, and then this is the thing, this is the commandment of the God, etc., etc., they say. And if you see Christians, they say, okay, we also have a great book. This is a great book, and then this is the commandment of God, they say. When we come to Hinduism, it is not like that. We have hundreds and hundreds of books. We have hundreds of books. So that is why Swami Dayananda said, they are people of the book, whereas we are people of the library. So why did this happen? Why did this happen? If you see, just try to understand history. In fact, we are all supposed to read some history. I sincerely advise, at least some senior students may be there who are reading history, etc. We are supposed to read history from different sources, not only the history book which is prescribed to us, because the history book which is prescribed by the government, it has got some particular version. It does not contain the whole truth, because history, if it tells truth, it will be highly educative to us. If it does not tell truth, it is just, it is like a lullaby. It is like it is trying to make us asleep. It is trying to make us ignorant about various things. So we are supposed to read history. We are supposed to know what happened in history, etc. So here, if you see what happened in the case of other religions, if we see, they were able to, they eliminated by force. They eliminated various traditions, and finally, whoever became victorious, whoever was militarily powerful, whoever was very powerful, he established a particular religion. So that is how the Western religions, if we see, they have formed. But it did not happen in our country. In our country, in fact, right from the beginning, because Swamini has given the subject called Upanishads also. Upanishads. Maybe you might have heard about the term Upanishads. Upanishads they were actually some olden day scientists, let us say. If you say sage or if you say Rishi, then immediately we imagine a picture where there is a long flowing white beard. There is a white beard. Unless there is a white beard, he cannot be a Rishi. So there will be a white beard and white mustache and long hair, etc. So that sort of man we visualize. But those rishis they were actually like scientists, because they were thinkers. You see, nowadays scientists, what do? Scientists, they think in a very, very logical way. They do not accept anything which is told. Just like that. Suppose I say, yes, there is some sort of place, some beautiful building in the space. So they don't accept. Where is it? How can you find it? Where exactly is it? I say, okay, there is a place called heaven. There is a wonderful place. There is a wonderful place where all buildings are made of gold and all the roads are made of gold. All the pavements are made of gold, and there you get very fine food and drink. So suppose I say like that, scientist wants to examine, oh, where is it? So scientist questions. So when you say, yes, there is something there, scientist questions. So whereas our people who thought about these Upanishads, they were basically thinkers. They were thinking about what is this supreme reality. Right now you were telling about how Rama is supreme God and Krishna is supreme God and how Vishnu is the supreme God, etc. We say, okay, we say Rama is the supreme God. We say Krishna is the supreme God. But if you go to somebody else, he will not say, no, my God is the supreme God. How to talk, how to agree? Where do we find an agreement? Suppose somebody else says, you will all grow up, and you will definitely come across these things. Somebody will say, my God is the only God. Then how do you establish truth? Then we have to scientifically think. We have to think in a very, very rational way. That is exactly what our sages, what our old scientists, I don't call them sages or rishis, they were actually like our old scientists. They examined what am I when I say that I am there? Who am I? What is this? I means a human being or any being, let us say any being. What is it? There is a body. There is a body, and then there is a skin, and underneath the skin there is blood. There are veins. There are bones. There is a flesh. So all these things are there. So is this my nature? What is it? Is it me? Is it me? What exactly is that me? And when I say I, etc., what is that intelligence? When I say I exist, there is some intelligence. I am an intelligent person. Not only I, even an ant. Even an ant is very, very intelligent because the ant, for its size, it knows where exactly some jaggery good is kept somewhere at a long, long distance. Some jaggery is kept, what we call bellam in Telugu, and that is kept somewhere long, very, very far away compared to the body size of the ant. But then the ant goes there, and somehow goes there, and then it catches it. So ant has got that sense. It has got some intelligence. It has got some perception, what we call it, and it has got the ability to know where its food is. Similarly, human being also knows how to survive, how to how to get what he wants. Similarly, all animals do have intelligence about how to get what they want. So that is what we see. So this intelligence is something which is common. Intelligence is something which is there everywhere in the universe. And intelligence is same either in an ant or in a tiger or in a mosquito or in a human being or any other, or a pig or any other thing. So this intelligence is the most primary thing. And that intelligence is something which is present in every being. So this and our Upanishad, the people who wrote our Upanishads, who saw this, our mantra Upanishad, they saw those Upanishads. They said this supreme thing, greatest thing is that consciousness. That consciousness is the ultimate. The consciousness is the ultimate thing, which is there in every being, not only human being. It is there in every ant. It is there in every tiger. It is there in every mosquito. So this consciousness is primary. Then what about all our gods, etc.? We are talking about Rama, Krishna, etc., etc. They say, yes, you do. You say, you do when you are doing some prayer. What are you saying? Okay, Ganesha is like this. You say Rama is like this. Shiva is like this. Vishnu is like this. You worship in whatever form. That is what Gita says. Gita says, yo yam tanum bhaktaha. It says in the 7th chapter. It says, yeah, whoever in whatever form worships or does prayer, the supreme reality answers to them in the same form. So that is what it says. So like that, we see our Upanishads. So there are so many Upanishads. And luckily, Bhagavad Gita is told by Lord Krishna, we know. And Krishna he has done a very great help to us. What is that help? He has summarized all those Upanishads. He has given the summary of Upanishads to us in this small book called Gita. Of course, it is not an independent book. You all know that Gita is a small part of a larger book called the Mahabharata. So, like this, we see now that the summary of all the thinking, all the thought process, the summary of what all our ancient rishis or scientists they thought. So all that summary is contained in one small book. So that is a wonderful thing which Lord Krishna has done. So that book, in fact, we all are supposed to read. We are all supposed to read that book not because we belong to Hinduism, but because as human beings, every human being is supposed to know what is reality, why he is living, how he has come to this life. Of course, you are very, very too young. You are too young to think about these questions. You are too young. But if I say all these things, you will not appreciate it. But anyway, I am just telling you, we are supposed to, at least right now, at your age, you are supposed to read and then know it by heart. And as you grow up, then you will find all answers to your questions. All answers to your questions you will find right now. That is the reason why in olden days, they used to learn by heart. They used to learn Upanishads by heart. They used to learn Vedas by heart, so that the boy may not understand. But then as they grow up slowly and slowly and slowly, when he faces a problem, then he will find the solution in the Gita. So like that, for all human actions, you find the right solution. It does not ask you to hate anybody. It accepts everybody. It accepts all types of people. It accepts all types of worship. You are worshipping, suppose on some Nagula Chavati day, you go to a snake mound and then put some milk there and all that. The gentleman does not condemn. Krishna does not condemn. Or you worship a tree or something like that. Krishna does not condemn. You do some good thing. You be on the right path, and then you will slowly and slowly and slowly you will come to this path of knowledge. So that is what Krishna says. So right now, what I advise you is that right now you can learn Gita by heart. All the people, the easiest thing we can do is to learn Gita by heart, so that once it is there, it will be there. It is somewhat like a seed. It is like a seed which is there in you. And then that seed will slowly and slowly sprout up. It will slowly sprout up and become a big tree. So that is how I look at it. Then secondly, you are also very familiar with all these stories. Right now you were telling some stories about Vishnu and such stories. So when we read stories, as you grow up, right now, of course, you read story for the sake of thrill. How, okay, there was one huge elephant. That huge elephant was caught by a very mighty crocodile, and that crocodile was dragging it into the pond, and then the elephant fought and fought and fought for a lot many years, and it could not get rid of that, crocodile. Then it prayed to Lord Vishnu, oh Vishnu. And then the gentleman came and then he just sent the discus, that chakram, and then the chakram knocked off the head of that, that crocodile. So you read that story. Or you read, and then that is just reading for the sake of thrill. It is so nice, and then God, we see, if you pray to God, God will immediately come and answer. So, but then when you read stories, we should also try to question, what is the message here? What is the message here? So that really, what does that elephant mean? In fact, are we really reading the story of an elephant, or are we reading our own story? Because all these stories, they are about us. They are not about elephant, and they are not about, if you read Panchatantra stories, the jackal or bull or some tiger. So they are not about those animals. They are about us. They are about us. So the elephant is a proud human being, a very, very proud human being who is so much, so totally tied up with so many big things in the world. And he is so very deeply caught in all these worldly things. And then at some point of time, he wants to come out of that, all those bondages. So he wants to come out of the bondage, but he cannot come out. Of course, this is called symbolism. This symbolism you may not you may not appreciate at your age. Or I will tell some other simpler story. For example, you all know, probably you might have read the beginning of Bharatam, Srimad Bharatam, Mahabharatam. Mahabharatam, what happens is, how does it start? For example, King Parikshit is there. King Parikshit goes out for hunting. When he goes out for hunting, he was just chasing some animals, and then he got tired. And then when he got tired, he just wanted some water. And he saw some Muni's ashram. When he saw that Muni's ashram, there was one Muni who was sitting, and then he was just meditating. He was just totally unaware. He was just not aware of who was there, and then he was not aware that a king was there in front of him, etc. Then the king went and asked for water. So that Muni, that sage, he was so very deeply there, he was doing meditation. So he didn't know. So the king thought that the Muni was very arrogant. The Muni, oh, this arrogant man, I as a king, I come and then I ask for some water, and then the man doesn't give. Then he very angrily, what he does, he just looks around. There is a dead snake there. He takes the dead snake with the tip of his bow. The bow, there is a tip. See, with the tip of that bow, he takes that snake and then puts it on the neck of that sage. Sage, even then, he doesn't bother. He doesn't know even. He doesn't even know that there is a snake. So then the king very angrily goes away. Then what happens? Then that sage's son comes, and that saint's son comes, and then he comes to know that the king has done like this. Then immediately he grows very, very angry, and then he gives a shapam. Shapam is, you know what is a shapam? Cursing. You will die in 10 days, in 7 days. So he gives a shapam. So then, okay, all these things, of course, there is a long story how the king wants to get out of that shapam, but unfortunately he cannot get out of that shapam. He builds one huge tower, and then in that tower he wants to be there. All that story is there. But what is the message in this story? The message in this story is the entire Mahabharata is about anger. That is various shades of anger, analysis of anger. Ramayana is all about the man-woman relationship. Ramayana, it is about Kama. Ramayana is a great analysis of Kama. Kama is, in that sense, I am using that word, Kama, not in general sense of desire, but in the sense of man-woman relationship. What should be the man-woman relationship, ideal relationship? There are so many illustrations given at so many places. Whereas Mahabharata is about Krodha. Mahabharata is about anger. Duryodhano Manyumayo Mahadramaha, it says. Mahabharata in the beginning it says. Duryodhana is like a huge tree of anger. Duryodhana is a huge tree of anger. And Dharmaraja, Yudhishthiro Dharmamayo Mahadramaha. Yudhishthira, that is Dharmaraja, is like a huge tree of Dharma. Dharma means righteousness, what we say, righteousness, or right, good. Let us say simple word is good. And for that Duryodhana, the simple word may be bad, but they are bad in what sense? Very arrogant, very angry, very intolerant. So that sort of thing, right from the beginning, if you see Mahabharata, there are so many stories which talk about how anger, it leads to many problems. Anger leads to problems. So in the very beginning, that king's anger, this king, he was a hungry man. A hungry man is always an angry man. Some of you might be feeling hungry now, maybe your lunchtime. And at this time, when you are hungry and immediately you don't get food, you will shout at your mom, you will say, oh, why food is not ready, etc. So like that, the king also got angry. And because of his anger, he lost his sense of judgment. Because that Muni, he was a very respectable person. And he did not offer respect to that person. And he very angrily ill-treated that particular sage. So that is, when you are angry, when a person is angry, then what happens? We lose our sense of judgment. So similarly, that sage's son also, sage's son, that boy is supposed to be a sage. He is also a Muni. He is also somebody who is practicing all self-control, etc. Controlling the mind, controlling anger, controlling various negative things. So he is on that path. But even that man, he also got angry. And in his anger, he gave a big shapam. He gave a big curse to the king. After all, you see, he is a great king who is in charge of the country. And this man gives a shapam to that person. Okay, you will die in 7 days, etc. It is Ramayana. So, several stories in Mahabharata, they analyze the effects of anger, various shades of anger, various places where anger is shown. So like that, we are supposed to see the message. So right now, when you read Mahabharata or Ramayana or Bhagavatam, you just enjoy the story. At that small age, maybe when you are very young, you enjoy the story. And as you grow, you see, a 5-year-old boy also reads Gajendra Moksham. Say maybe about a 20-30-year-old person also reads Gajendra Moksham. And he thinks, okay, Gajendra Moksham is so nice, God is so good, and when I pray, God answers. And when a slightly elderly person, he or she also reads, and then knows, oh, it is all about me only. It is all about me. Gajendra, it's not about me. Gajendra is in you and me. Or if it is talking about some Hiranyakashipu or some Rakshasa, it is not about Hiranyakashipu, but there are so many Hiranyakashipus around us. Hiranyakashipu, what does it mean? Hiranyam means gold. Hiranyakashipu. Kashipu is what we call, it can be a mattress or a pillow. So he is a man who is hoarding. He snatches all the wealth of the whole world and he wants to be the master of the whole world. So that is how he has conquered gods. He has defeated them and then driven them away. And then he is the boss of all the forces of nature. That is what we call Ashtadikpalak. All the forces of nature, he is the boss. Then opposite to him is Prahlada. Hlada means happiness. Prahlada is one gentleman who is always in his meditation, Meditation in the sense he is aware, who is praying to Lord Vishnu, and then he is very, very happy. And he doesn't want all these things. He doesn't want wealth, etc., etc. So a person who is snatching the wealth of all the people, and a person who doesn't want to die at all, a person who doesn't want to die, he has put so many conditions for his death. So it cannot be day, it cannot be night, it cannot be in a house, it cannot be outside the house. So like that here, and it should not be an animal, it should not be a man, it should not be any animal or anything like that. So, and it should not be a weapon. So put so many conditions for his death that he should not die. So Lord Narasimha had to fulfill all the conditions. He had to fulfill all the conditions, and he had to tear him with his nails, long nails. So what does it show? A bad man, you see, even now the bad people, they are so wise, they are so intelligent. They employ so many chartered accountants and all those people who write false accounts, and then who will try to put them in very, very safe net. But at some point of time, all that safe net has to loosen, and then those people have to face law. And Prahlada, he cannot be such a person, cannot be happy with somebody who is a simple person who is praying to God. So Hiranyakashipu is naturally, he cannot go on well with Prahlada. So that is what is the story there. So as we grow up slowly and slowly, we come to know the meanings of those things. And we know that, oh, this is all about human beings only. This is all about human behavior. So our tradition has got wonderful texts which you don't find anywhere in the world. You just don't find anywhere in the world, because the other religions or other traditions, they may have a book, and then on that book there may be some commentaries. But then we have got so many things, so many stories, and so many ways of making a man very, very perfect, making a man very righteous, making a person a thinker. Not exactly somebody who is foolishly attached to some work. But then our tradition asks you to think. There is no other tradition which asks you to think. In our tradition, we are asked to think. In one Upanishad, a son goes to a father. And then he asks his father, oh father, tell me, what is that Brahma? What is that supreme reality? What is that thing? Tell me. Of course, the father knows. But then it is something which cannot be straight away told, it is like this, it is like this. You have to experience it. Suppose I say, okay, Rasgulla is a sweet. You do not know what is that sweet. Unless you eat it, then only then you will experience what is that nature of sweetness. So like that Brahma, you have to think. That father says, you have to think. You have to think. For thinking, you have got a mind. You have got some senses which are able to see what is there in the world. So you see what you are, and you see what is the world, and then try to see what is behind all these things. So in a logical way, that son is trained to think. So our religion trains us to think. Initially, right now, you are listening to so many stories, and you are listening to, okay, this Quran, this some nice stories, etc. But after some time, we are supposed to think what is the meaning behind it. So our tradition is something which says you have to think. So no other tradition says you have to think. They only say, my book says this, you jolly well believe. If you don't believe, you will go to hell. If you don't believe, you'll go to hell, they say. But in our tradition, it doesn't say like that. You think and realize. You think and realize it. And if you say, no, I don't want to believe in this. I want to worship so and so God. Okay, you do worship. It doesn't matter. You worship. So our tradition is so liberal, and it asks you to think and realize truth. So of course, I don't know how far I made myself clear. Whatever suddenly came to my mind after listening to this voice, and also girl. So I just spoke out. So I am prepared to take some questions, because I do not know how far I have made myself clear to the children. Any questions, please, all children?
Thank you, Dr. Garu. It was very
Namaste.
relevant to our camp.
Namaste, Swaminiji.
No, namaste. Very relevant to our camp, because you're connecting at their level, and stories and message. So let's take a question from Devan.
Yes, ma'am. So, Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, sir. Sir, what inspired you to shift to spirituality after retirement? And what is your advice for today's young generation?
Yeah, it is not a spirituality. It is, see, spirituality is again a very big word. So, in fact, no, I did not start it after retirement, even when I was in service, more maybe about 20 years prior to my retirement, when I was around 40 or so, I started reading these books. I started reading these books because at that time when you are in your when you go to college, then what happens to you is your own friends will be there. They will say, "Arey, you belong to a religion where you have got 100 gods. I belong to a religion where there is only one God. My religion is so scientific, it is true. This is the only truth," he says. Then we get confused. And then we say, "Oh, why is it we are worshipping, so, say, Ganesha on one day, Shiva on one day, we are worshipping Vishnu on some other day? What is all this?" Then you will start questioning. So for that, if you read Gita now, it is actually, right now, it is not spirituality. Right now, you are finding answers to your questions, to very uncomfortable questions which your friends may ask, which the uncomfortable questions which your friends may pose when you go to college. So for that, first of all, we have to know. So I started like that. And slowly, when I started reading, then it is like an ocean. It is like an ocean, and it is something which is so rewarding. It is so, it is something which makes a person really, what can we say? A righteous person, a mature person, and you will be able to handle any situation in your, suppose when you grow up, maybe in your 20s, 25, something like that, you will also get into a job. And whatever job you may be doing, you will do it in a very perfect way. You will do it in a very, very efficient, very, very competent manner. If you read Mahabharata, Mahabharata will make you a more competent person in whatever field. If you are a doctor, you are a better doctor. If you are a policeman, you are a better policeman. If you are an officer, you are a better officer. So Mahabharata, if you read, it tells about all human relationship, in what situation, what a person, how Dharmaraja has acted, or various people acted in different situations. So it demonstrates, it shows before us how in this particular situation he did like that. So as you grow, I really, when you say, I don't know your age, maybe around 12, 13, 14, maybe when you are in your 20s, what you have to do is you have to read the whole Mahabharata in English. I don't expect you to read in Sanskrit only. Because it is there translated in English also. It is available right on the net. So we have to read so that, oh, these are the depths. When you read Ramayana, at your age, you just read the outlines. And after some, maybe when you are 20, 30 also, around 20 also, you will be still reading some outlines only. But at some point of time, you have to read the original Ramayana. What is Valmiki saying? Why did Rama behave like this in this particular situation? Why did Rama behave like this? So we have to read those books, and those books, they will enrich us. They will enable us to face any situation. They will give us so much of maturity. In fact, I now feel I would have been a better person if I had read Mahabharata when I was young. I did not read Mahabharata when I was young. I only read the story. Right at now, I am reading the whole Mahabharata written by Vyasa. So when I read Vyasa, then my eyes are opened. So like that.
Thank you. Vinod.
Yes.
Shall we take the next question from Maitreyi?
Yes, madam.
So, what inspired you to write books, and at which age did you start writing them?
Yeah, that is again a very important point. When I went to America, in fact, my grandson, maybe of your age, two grandsons are there. And when I was reading their books, on social studies, etc., some books, then they are told about about Hinduism in a very, very negative way, in a very negative way. And particularly the children in America, in the Hindu children in America, they get a very negative feeling about our religion. They say, okay, oh, you are worshipping a monkey, you are worshipping some elephant, you are worshipping Ganges, where all the dead bodies are floating, etc., etc. They humiliate children. And we think, oh, we are all like that because we have not read Gita. We do not know our own books. So if you do not know our own books, what happens is we do not know how liberal and how noble our thoughts are. In fact, we are the people who accept everybody. And our tradition says God is not somebody who is in heaven. God is there in you and me. God is there in every living being. So it does not say, yes, God is there only and you have to worship that God. If you don't worship that God, that man will put you in hell where there is one gentleman called the devil. So there is no concept of Hinduism. In ours, there is no concept of devil. Our Yamadharma Raja is not an opponent of God. Yamadharma Raja is not an enemy of God. Yamadharma Raja is an associate of God. They are all doing one particular function. Yamadharma Raja is something like a jail department where the people are trained to behave well. It is correctional administration, they say. Correctional administration, where the people are put on, they are made to do some useful jobs. So like that, I found that Hinduism is, the fundamentals of Hinduism have to be told to a lot many people, particularly to young parents. So that is the reason why my entire focus is on your age group. Your age group, because at your age group and also later, and also the young parents who are supposed to tell them. If you just keep on telling the stories only, it doesn't matter. Slowly and slowly, as the children are likely to understand, when they become slightly mature enough, we are supposed to tell the message also, message behind the story. Not only the story, but the message behind the story. So that is the reason why I started writing these books, particularly for children, particularly for layman, let us say, lay person, we say, isn't it? So for lay person. So that is the reason.
Thank you, Maitri. And next we have one last question, Dr. Garu. Akhilesh, he is actually a student of Samskritam, has Samskritam as a second language. And Akhilesh, can you unmute?
Akhilesh, Suprabhatam Mahashaya, unmute.
Yeah. Suprabhatam.
Unmute. Unmute Nakrutam. Vaya. Danim Karaniyam.
Yes, Akhilesh, ask your question. It doesn't have to be in Sanskritam.
I have a question, like how many lakars are there in Sanskritam, like lat lakar, lan lakar, like that? How many lakars are there?
Yeah, there are 10 right now. This is the age. Your age is the right age to know some grammar. At my age, if somebody says learn grammar, I will not learn. So the mistake I did was I did not learn grammar when I was young. I knew some Sanskrit, but I just went ahead like that. I did not learn much of grammar. So now I feel, I should have learned in my childhood. So at your age, you are doing the right thing. If you are learning Sanskrit, you know the lakaras, and then you read Panini's grammar, etc. So that grammar is very, very essential. You see, grammar is something which makes your language very, very perfect, isn't it? So grammar is very essential in order to understand any other subject also in Sanskrit, whether it is Vedanta, whether it is Upanishad, or whether it is something else, or whether it is Bharata. So you are doing the right thing. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akhilesh. So, Dr. Garu, we are, reaching the finish of our program.
Okay, madam.
And so, as the formality is, I would like to just conclude it formally with a few words of blessing for everyone, and really appreciate your being here. And we'll just take another 15 minutes. Will you be around still?
Yeah, sure, Swamini.
I hope you have some water. Otherwise, I would have offered you some water. Okay. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So, dear children, we are now coming to the close of our camp. The camp was called Samskriti, and it was 11 days long camp, and it was just amazing because we were all transported into a different world, different yuga for these last 11 days, into I would say, a forgotten yuga. And we immersed ourselves into Subhashitams, Bhagavad Gita, and bhajans, and Ramayana, and Samskritam, all these things which Dr. Garu is teaching very actively on YouTube and Advaita Academy, channel. So you would have seen, children, that in these past few days, so many questions would have got answered, is it not? Why should one pray? And what is the significance of Namaste? Why should we eat with the hand? Why are trees and plants sacred? Why speak the truth? So many questions will be there. And the beautiful thing is when you ask children questions, they know the answers mostly, and then they have more questions. Now, these questions, are they addressed in our educational institutions? No, not necessarily. Our schools and institutions, they address and help develop the cognitive skills, analytical skills. But what does our Samskriti do to us? This Vedic culture. The Vedic culture gives us the rootedness, the core identity, the interconnectedness. Remember, on the day one of the camp, I gave the example of the redwood tree, the tall redwood tree, 300 feet long. How does it stand, against storms and floods? Because it is rooted, interconnectedness is there. And that is the glory of our Samskriti, that it gives us the core identity. And then when we have the core identity, then the child moves on to become a mature, responsible adult and a contributor. This is a very important word, contributor, and not just a survivor or a consumer. That is the beauty of our culture. And in this Samskriti, as Dr. Garu was saying, there is a message in everything, whether it is a daily ritual like snanam, we don't take bath just to remove the dirt. Why do we take snanam? Because the body is a temple, and then we do alankaram, we put flowers and bottu and, all these marks which we learnt in the camp. Then we do Atma Pradakshina, because that is offering namaskaras to the Lord residing in the heart. So whether it is a daily, mundane ritual like a bath, or it can be a milestone in our lives, 50th birthday, 60th birthday. So there are beautiful Hindu samskaras which punctuate the Jiva Yatra, the life, and gives meaning and purpose to our life. And hence Puja Swamiji would say, Bharatiya Samskriti is a culture of bhavana, culture of attitude. When Grihani, Grihani wears gold, that is not cosmetic, or it's not meant for decoration or, to display the gold, because we revere gold as Mahalakshmi. And then we have respect for that. Why we don't step on money, on books. So all this is part of this Samskriti, which is based on the attitude. And that is what Dr. Garu also told us, Arvindra Garu, how this way of life, it paves the way for higher and higher understanding of the all-pervasiveness of God. So that Lord is in you, Lord is in me, and Lord is in the stone, in everywhere, Gomata, Arunachala, everywhere. So you see, the Hindu life is not an isolated life. It is connected life is a Hindu life. So we're connected on the physical level, on the subtle level, and on the absolute level. Parasparam bhavayantam, Bhagavad Gita says. How we're all interconnected and any and everything is a part of the whole. Yeah? And there are connections at all these different levels. But what is unfortunate today? Today, the modern life, what do we see? We have moved away from our own Samskriti. Is it not? There is distractedness. There are choices, so many choices, and then there are all these devices. There's urbanization, nuclear families, yeah, stress, and globalization. On the one hand, of course, it has its positive benefits, like right now, through the Zoom technology, we are having a beautiful satsanga with special speakers like Dr. Garu. Yeah, but what is happening to the child at the core level? Because of all this, the child is confused and tense inside. There is a vacuum there. There is no core identity. Yeah? So the important thing is to how we can bring back the Samskriti in our lives. Yeah, today in this fast-paced, modern life, even though there is, time is compressed and there is stress, still we have to bring back the Samskriti in our lives. And how to do that? You have already taken the first step, and that is attending camps. Yeah. So again, congratulations to everyone who has attended this Vedic Heritage Camp. And another way how to bring the Samskriti back is, can you see this book I'm holding out? Yes? Yeah, so this is a beautiful book written by Dr. Arvind Rao Garu, who just sent me a few copies. How to teach Hinduism to your child. Yeah? Every parent should read this. Yeah? And what does Dr. Garu say? He says this book is to give the modern students and parents how they can appreciate, our traditions, the universal values, and the plurality that is there in Sanatana Dharma. Yeah, unity in diversity. We just say it, but what does it mean? The Pujya Swamiji's famous statement: "We don't have many gods. We don't have one God. What do we have? Only God." That means God or Ishvara or Bhagavan, however you want to say it, is the essence of anything and everything. So in this book, Dr. Garu says, how can we look at our own religion with pride, and not something which is full of superstition and, dogmas. Yeah. So for that, we have to pursue the knowledge. Yeah. The whys and the hows. We have to be like Arjuna, asking questions and having a healthy jignasa. Jignasa means curiosity, desire to know more and more. And as you knock, doors will open. As you ask, and the universe will give us responses. Is it not? So in this book, also, Dr. Ji, gives us many practical tips on how we can revive the Samskriti in our lives. And this is not to be done by children. Parents have to be involved. So we can have joint sessions of yoga together, yeah, puja, the 16-step puja, or 5 steps, however you want to reduce it. Yeah. Then aratis, I'm sure you're all doing aratis already. Then swadhyaya. Can we do some reading of Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharatam at home? Few pages, if not during the week, on weekends. Yes. Then Pancha Mahayajnas, we heard about it in the camp. No? So as your parents are doing Pancha Mahayajnas, you can also, join them in that. Then Sandhya, we have Aditya here in the camp. Dr. Garu, Aditya is 10 years old and he does Sandhya, Gayatri Japam, and is fully trained in 16-step puja. And in fact, Aditya did the puja for us on Shankara Jayanti. You will be happy to know that. And how many such Adityas are there today? Not many, right? So, this is the best gift a parent can give to the child. What is the gift? The gift of samskaras, the gift of Bharatiya Samskriti. It is more valuable than bank balances and land and property or jewels. That also can be given, but this will be the gift of the core identity. So you see how unique our Bharatiya Samskriti is. what underlying meaning is there to every tradition and custom and rituals are there. Yeah. So we have to discover the Samskriti and bring back the music, the dance forms, the festivals, all in a more active way in our lives. And not only on PPTs. All of you had wonderful PPTs to display, but let us also do it manually, and understand the significance, as Dr. Garu was saying, of festivals. Why do we celebrate Deepavali? And see the message behind the stories. Yeah. So that would be a true Bharatiya. Remember on day one, I told you there are several meanings of the word Bharata, right? So a Bharatiya is one who takes pride and celebrates the glory of knowledge, and for whom everything is sacred. Yeah. So Bha and Rata, right? The one who revels, celebrates knowledge, and for whom everything is glorious, is the expression, manifestation of Bhagavan. Okay. Now, in the end, I would like to end with a very beautiful Subhashitam. Can we have that slide, please? Yes. Dr. Garu has, Arvind Rao Garu has got a beautiful book, motivational verses and Subhashitams, a compilation, beautiful. And one of them is this one. Yeah? What does this one say? Let me read it out. Abhivadanashilasya nityam vridha upasevinah chatvari tasya vardhante ayuhu vidya yashah balam. Yeah. And this is a Subhashitam which is about the glory of serving, glory of namaskaras to elders. Matru Devo Bhava, Putru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, and I would add Prakriti Devo Bhava. Mother Nature also we can respect. So this Subhashitam says respecting elders, vriddhas, parents, our role models, our elder siblings, whoever they are, and serving them always, upasevinaha, then what? Chatvari, 4 kinds of blessings will follow. Yeah, for that person. Tasya, Chatvari vardhante, will grow. And what are they? Ayuhu, longevity, vidya, knowledge, abundance of knowledge, yashaha, fame. In fact, Taittiriya Upanishad says that, if you pursue knowledge, then fame, whether you want it or not, will come and stick to you. You don't have a choice. Yeah, you will become famous. And balam, strength. Okay? Abhivadana Shilasya Nityam Vridha Upasevinah Chatvari Tasya Vardhante Ayuhu Vidya Yashaha Balam. So we have seen this before, we do namaskaras to devatas and we ask different things. Nothing wrong in asking, but as we mature, we will start asking for better things, more knowledge, more clarity, more maturity, more calmness, right? But let us not forget also to do namaskaras to the elders right here at home with us every day. Okay? And so hi and bye is American Samskriti, but Namo Namaha, Suprabhatam, Shubhashayaha, all this is our own Bharatiya Samskriti. So this way, what will happen? We will discover the Sita within us. We will become like Hanumanji, and then we will be as compassionate and sweet as Sri Rama. So all the role models that we are worshipping, we discover them in oneself. Yeah, don't you want to do that? All these things will come and stick to us. Okay? So I'm very happy to see all the presentations. Yesterday we had the juniors, and we saw, how Shripada was chanting the Guru Parampara shlokas, which we did not even teach her. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagane Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya. All this she was chanting. And today we saw wonderful PPTs on Shankara and so many other things, which you can all watch again in the recording. Okay. Now, let me show you one last thing. And with that, I think, yeah. we will end the session. Yeah, you can stop. Oh, sorry. Yes, please, can you share again, Divya? Yeah. So we talked about the Samskriti, Then many parents were also asking me how to instill the discipline, in children. Yeah? Now, discipline, as we know, does not come overnight, right? So, when I was with the Swami Shivananda's ashram, then we used to maintain a daily spiritual diary. Yeah, and what is it? Next page. So there are a list of questions. You have to form a table like this for a week. Okay, we will share it in the group. Questions like, when did I sleep last night? 10 o'clock? Or was I watching Netflix? 12 o'clock? Then, when did I get up from bed? For one day. Then, how many hours I slept? How many malas of japa? How long in bhajans? Did I do yoga? How long? How long I did dhyanam? Then, how many Gita shlokas did I read? Or was it just Brahmarpanam Brahmavi? Bhojana shloka? Then, satsanga time, how much? Then, seva. Did I help my parents or my uncles, grandparents? Then, if you have a book for Likita Japa, you write Sri Rama 1 page a day. How much dhanam did I do? Dhanam is not only financial, can be other ways, as we heard from Rahul today. What a beautiful presentation that was. Then physical games, this is the perfect time to do that lockdown. Badminton, running around. Then study, Swadhyaya, Ramayanam, Srimad Bhagavatam. Then did I think about my Ishtadevata? So I am so happy to see most of your Ishtadevata is Hanumanji. That's perfect. The best role model that anyone can have. Then what positive quality I'm developing in this week? Let's say calmness, or concentration. So then you try to develop it, and I will share a few tips on how to do that. And what negative quality I'm removing? Let's say anger. I get easily angry. So then when you write it down in black and white, then the tendency to get angry will be curbed. Yeah. So this is like your own private spiritual diary for a week from Monday to Sunday. And if you want, you can, do your statistics and compute the statistics, and you will be amazed when I kept this diary for maybe 10 years every day, most of the days in the 90s. Now I just keep it mentally, but children should keep it physically. So then you see week after week, you will see yourself progressing. And it is all because of tools like this, which help us in emotion management, time management, right? So I just wanted to share that. And okay. Now there is one more thing, and then we move on definitely to the closing prayers. And that is, just a second. I'm unable to share my own screen. Just a second. Okay. Now, can everybody see this? Yes? No? Yes? Maitri, can you see this? Okay. So we are all very happy to give, to present all the active participants of this 11-day Vedic Heritage Camp, Samskriti, the blessings of Puja Swamiji, and present you with this Arsha Vidya Vedic Heritage Camp Certificate of Participation. So what you can see on the screen is awarded to Akhilesh because the name starts with A, and each one of you, we will email it to you in a day or two. Okay? Right. So, for your wonderful participation, and the best part is also, we learned so many things from the children. Lots of technology tips, and it was like parasparam bhavayantam, mutual exchange. Yeah, and we will announce some short-term courses in the near future, and definitely next year, 2022, we will have another Samskriti camp. Yeah? So now we will end as usual with the closing prayers, which how beautifully Veda Shankar talked about it. Veda, Asatoma, Satkamya prayer. And then we will do a Mangala Arati. So everybody can get ready with your Arati plates and do your individual Aratis. And then lastly, before the Arati, now we will have the vote of thanks. Today it is extending, but that's okay. Last day, you can all stay. Rajeshwari, unmute.
Yes, Amma. Amma, my voice is clear?
Yes.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We have been through a wonderful journey in these past 10 days, wherein we have learned a lot about Sanatana Dharma and Vedic culture. It is a pleasant surprise for the organizers that we received an overwhelming response with nearly 75 children attending the camp. We thank parents and grandparents for supporting the children. Thank you, Lakshmi Madam, for your excellent recitation of Ramayana. Thank you, Usha Madam, for the colorful craft session and calming yoga and meditation session. And thank you, Ms. Divya, for conducting sessions on Gita Sloka, bhajans and Sanskrit teaching, but also doing a tremendous job in technical aspects in this camp. I thank Jayashri ji for her dedicated teaching of daily shlokas and her sister Rajeshwari ji, who worked meticulously in designing the camp certificate. Thank you, Niharika, for your inspiring presentation of Aims for Seva, the organization founded by Pujya Swami Dayananda Saraswati. And I thank you, Master Vivan, just an 8-year-old boy, son of Niharika Madam, for his wonderful contribution on designing our camp poster. On behalf of Arshavidya Parampara and Samskriti team, I thank Karnam Arvind Rao Garu for taking time out of his busy schedule and attending this program. And as you mentioned, clearly the importance of learning Gita and how important is to control our anger, and we will surely, it's a remarkable, and all of us must remember and follow that in our life. Thank you so much, sir. Swamini Amma, thank you for being such a Swamini Amma, thank you for being such an amazing guru, and for all your efforts. We feel blessed to be your student and to be a part of Samskriti camp team. I was given the opportunity to share thoughts on important topics Sanatana Dharma, which was so enriching me. You have inspired us daily. Please accept our pranams. As a guru, you have given us the tools we need to face our future. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Dr. Garu. Now we'll definitely have.
Thank you, Swamiji. Swamiji.
And we hope Dr. Garu, Dr. Garu is so precious. Every time I've asked him to come for some event.
Thank you, Swamiji. This is a nice meeting, and you have wonderfully trained them in a wonderful camp. So, congratulations.
And
that's wrong.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Let's do the Arati, everybody, and then go for lunch.
If you permit, I will leave, Swamiji.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Garu. See you another time. Om Shri Gurubhyo
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Tameva mata chapita tameva tameva matma jagata tameva tameva vidya देवा कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। बोलो सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, राधा कृष्ण की जय, नमः पार्वती पते, हर हर महादेव। Can all do a namaskaras after putting down the arati flame carefully? I am also back. So, okay. So that was the concluding day 11 and the concluding session of the concluding day. So I know you all must be a bit tired or hungry, but yes, thank you we enjoyed every moment that we've spent with all of you. There are recordings which you can watch again, and please keep the WhatsApp group for a day or two, still, because there may be some important notifications, and you can expect to receive your certificates in the email, okay? And yeah, so I don't know if the parents are here now. There's a short announcement that we would like to have one short session with the parents tomorrow, Sunday, okay? Where we can give you more details and what all is happening in the field of Purna Vidya. Purna Vidya is same thing, Samskriti camp. So we can share some details there and take some questions from you. And yeah, there'll be some suggestions. This is only for the parents, okay? Not for the children. And so I thought Sunday, tomorrow, why don't we have it at the same time, 11 o'clock, okay? Some parents are free, I think, being a Sunday. So let us know in the chat, in the group, yeah, WhatsApp, what you feel about the session tomorrow, okay? Okay, then what else to say? Vande Mataram, Jai Hind. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So let me see what happens if I unmute you all. You can unmute and say Namo Namaha or whatever you want.
Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha. Namo Namaha. Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Jai Shri Ram, Radhe Radhe. So many things to say, no?
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram.